Alrighty, and we should be going recording. So again, thanks everyone and welcome to SIG Docs bi-weekly, the edition after KubeCon, where a lot of folks are probably feeling really great and really inspired after a really awesome event that was attended by some folks here in person on the call and a bunch of us virtually as well. So really great to welcome you all to SIG Docs. I do want to just start off by saying thanks for joining us. I'm Natalie, as I mentioned, and I'm hosting today, taking over some of the duties of Divya and Jim, who've been graciously helping out with a lot of new contributors and a lot of new folks like myself getting involved in SIG Docs, which is really great. I do want to just quickly post the agenda here in the chat, just in case folks haven't got it at their fingertips. And if anyone wants to add anything as we go into that, it's there in the chat for everyone to access. But we're going to quickly get started now with what's on the agenda here. And the first thing I would love to shout out is to see if there is any new contributors that want to say hello and introduce themselves on the call today. Can be new to the meeting, new to contributing to SIG Docs. Maybe you only joined last week and didn't get a chance to. Garima, hi.
Hi, yeah, this is my second KubeCon.
I don't think I can hear you.
You cannot? Sorry. Now?
I believe we can.
No,
I can hear you.
I can hear you.
We can hear you.
I can hear you.
Oh, you can hear? Okay, great. Excellent.
Okay, yeah, this was my second KubeCon and I wanted to know how to contribute. So I'm looking at SIG Docs and SIG Contribex to like be my starting points. Yeah, happy to be here. Nice to meet you all.
Great. Thank you so much, Garima. Welcome. We're really great to have you. Anyone else on the call that would love to introduce themselves?
I'm Whitney. Nice to meet you. When you said new contributors, I didn't introduce myself because I'm not a contributor yet. So, but I look to be soon. I met Chris at KubeCon. I went to the SIG Docs meet and greet, and I'm looking forward to helping out around here.
That's really awesome. Whitney, welcome. Definitely would-be contributors also welcome. I think anyone that wants to be part of the community can definitely shout out and say hi. So it's really great to have you here on board. That's really great. And then we've got Athara here in the chat too. Your first meeting in SIG Docs. Great to have you here. Thanks for saying hi and then calling that out. Really awesome to have so many new folks saying hi on the call. Really awesome.
Hi. Hi,
Vital. Hello.
Hi, everybody. My name is Vital, and it was my second KubeCon this week virtually. And as a student, I feel it's good to contribute to the community. So I'm very excited to join SIG Docs, and hopefully I'll start contributing soon.
Really great to have you here, Vital. I really hope I'm saying your name correctly. Feel free to correct me if I'm not, by the way. Awesome.
No, sure.
Great. Really great. Thanks so much for saying hi. And yeah, welcome. We're so excited to have a lot of new folks coming in and joining and helping out. So great to see you. Awesome. Just going to give, for anyone new who else wants to introduce themselves, another minute or two to say hi.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes. Hello.
Okay. I was part of the Spanish subgroup. I'm just here as a listener, and if we are lucky, I will be contributing again in the Spanish, but I'm not sure. I just want to know what you're doing, and that's all.
That's great to have you. I think I missed your name. I'm so sorry. If you could repeat that for me.
I'm Federico. I'm using the pseudo, the nick of Carmaville, but my name is Federico. Nice to meet
Federico.
you.
Awesome. Nice to meet you too. Welcome. And thanks so much. Yeah, we're great to have anyone from the localizations on. Awesome that you want to take part and see what's taking place. Awesome, really, to have you with us, and really great work on the localization front. It's great efforts that you're putting in. So that's awesome.
Yeah, Ryan Garcia was part of the Spanish localization. I'm not sure if he's still as a leader of the Spanish, but I'm gonna talk with them and participate in that group. That's a group.
Awesome. I think that would be really great. And yeah, you can definitely feel free to reach out to them in the localization chat there, or just overall the SIG Docs Slack channel too. Totally fine to reach out there as well.
Thank you.
Awesome. And then also with the chat, we've got a couple of hellos there. Hello, Kohei Ota. Hi, welcome. Really great to have so many new contributors on. Wow, this is awesome. I would turn this into just a new contributor meeting the whole time. This is great. Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome. Firstly, I also just want a quick shout out to Ray. Thanks for taking notes. I was going to start, but I saw you typing there. So thanks, Ray, for being our scribe today. Really appreciated. And I haven't seen him jump on the call yet, but one of the other things I wanted to do as a kind of an opening of the meeting here after KubeCon, wanted to give a big shout out to our tech lead, Tim Bannister, who was noted as a top documentarian for 2021 for over at KubeCon. Big congratulations to him. Really hope he was here to say hi, and it would be really, really great to for anyone who wants to, you know, say congratulations, jump into SIG Docs and tell him that he's so great. I think that's an awesome achievement and a really awesome recognition for our little SIG over at KubeCon as well. All right. And so with the contribution welcomes there done, wanted to kind of jump in and just quickly remind folks about PR wrangling. Interestingly, this week and next week, we don't seem to have anyone on the agenda or on the list for doing PR wrangling. For those who are new here, PR wrangling is the set of approvers that we have in SIG Docs who are kind of tasked weekly to help get the PRs to a sustainable level and moving forward in terms of seeing if we need any more information from different SIGs, or getting the contributor up to speed in terms of signing CLAs and understanding, you know, some of the feedback they're receiving. And so if I've got any approvers on the call that want to put their hand up to do any PR wrangling this week or next week, feel free to jump into the agenda and add your name. But we will be collectively as a community helping out with the PRs in terms of getting them moving through the workflow over the next couple of weeks anyhow. So approvers out there, if you're on the call, remember to check your shifts. There will be information listed there also in the agenda. And moving on to some of the next topics, we've got some information. I know, Ray, you've popped this in on release 123. Would you mind giving a quick update here?
Yeah, I'm actually going to defer if any of the release docs team members would like to give an update. If not, I can.
Sure. We have only a couple or some draft pull requests open. We have 7 out of 40. So maybe we think, or we are a little bit worried that there are a few pull requests opened due to the deadline on November 18. But as Jesse told us, you maybe send an email to the email list in order to speed up these pull requests or these draft pull requests.
Yeah, I will send out an email on Thursday to the Kubernetes community to remind folks of a number of milestones coming up, because all the milestones around major US holidays, major December holidays as well. 123 is scheduled to be released on December 7th. So we have some major milestones around mid-November. I did see some additional PRs open, draft PRs open over the past day or two. So I think we do have more than 7 draft PRs open. Yes, so that leaves about over 30-ish enhancements still need placeholder PRs, which is quite a bit. We have about 3 weeks until the docs placeholder PR deadline. And for those who are new, part of the release cycle, one of the first milestones for docs is after they opt in to have their enhancement part of a release. If they need documentation for the release, we do have a milestone for enhancements to open a placeholder PR. This is just a draft PR. It doesn't have to be complete at all. It just to give us what sense of velocity in the number of PRs we need to review for SIG Docs for the release. So because the milestones are pretty close together towards the end of the release. And feel free to ask any questions or have any comments for me or for the release docs team as well.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Ray. And thank you to Adolfo as well for your update too. Great. Thank you so much.
I have a question. What's an example of a milestone that you're trying to hit?
So milestones are pretty much deadlines.
Uh-huh.
So we have like code freeze coming up November 16th. 2 days after code freeze, we have the docs placeholder PR deadline. So that's for more of SIG Docs for SIG Docs to see. And after that is once documentation is complete, the docs should be ready to be reviewed, which is reviewed by the release docs team and also SIG Docs reviewers as well. Then I forgot what date that is.
I guess I mean, like, what's the goal, the code goal? Like, are you, yeah.
Oh, the code. Okay, so the goal is that is to have what the code goes into the Kubernetes/Kubernetes repository, and that's just all code related changes for that's targeted to 123. Along with those code related changes, and let's say like dual stack IPv4, IPv6 is a feature that's going to be stable. There should be documentation to reflect that. It could be either updating the FeatureGate page or just documentation stating that it is stable in 123, or any other new features that go into alpha or beta as well, or any changes. So there's the documentation changes that needs to be part of the release.
Great, thank you so much.
Welcome.
Yeah, thanks for your question, Whitney, as well. I want to just save some space for anyone else with any other questions around the 123 update on docs. Alrighty, so we'll move on to the next agenda item. And I do note that this was popped in by Tim, who doesn't look like he's on the call at the moment, but perhaps there is someone on the call that will be able to speak to this. This is a PR that he brought up, or should I say an issue that was reported by a contributor as a possible bug report and not necessarily a design behavior. And he's popped this on here for the next meeting of SIG Docs, but he's not here to speak to it. Does anyone else have any background or info on said PR in the agenda that they'd like to speak to? Ray?
Yes, so I just took a look at this issue. This is an issue. It looks like he has a PR to fix this issue. I haven't checked yet. But this is in the Kubernetes, when you go to the documentation page, and on the left side, you get the navigation menu. And if it's 3 levels deep, the second level items below the active parent doesn't show their children. So I think there's an issue. Sure, that's what's linked. And it looks like there's a PR. Actually, I don't see a PR, so I think it's just an issue is open.
Yeah, I believe Tim's original question was around whether this was intended behavior or not, and it's seen likely as not, and it's something to be discussed. But I guess that's the discussion to take place if we think that's intended, or if it is something that is a bug that should be fixed. Thoughts around this for anyone looking into this issue?
Yeah, I just started reading the documentation recently, and I faced the same issue. I thought that it was only page, and when I click, there was a lot of concepts inside that word. So yeah, maybe we can improve that and take it as an issue.
Great, sorry, just taking some notes. I'm on a single monitor here from my couch. But great, yes. So Rodolfo, if I can just make sure you were experiencing this also specifically on the English side or other localizations?
I face it in the English site,
yep.
But I'm not sure what is the behavior in other languages.
Gotcha, great. I'll note that here as well. Anyone else with comments here?
Sorry, I'm not sure if we are talking about the same thing, but I remember that there is a subcategories. I mean, you open that second index or second level, nested level, and there are like headers, and then you go to the page. Maybe we are not talking about that, that's what came to my mind. Maybe it's some documentation missed or something like that. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, I think this is definitely in the main, like the top level navigation on the left specifically here, that this seeming bug is coming up into. But it looks like it's, regardless of intent, it looks like it's not actually coming across the same way for all different users. So definitely something I think needs to kind of come in terms of maybe a PR to bring in a fix here. If no one else has thoughts on that, we can move on to the next agenda topic 2, and I'll take some notes and follow up with Tim after the meeting as well. All right, we're going to jump to the next topic then, and we're moving into the discussion area here. And Ray, I've noted that you've got the new refactor label listed here. I'll defer to you.
Sorry about that, just getting off mute. So on a GitHub, I think issue or discussion, we talked about adding a new, so there's been pull requests that have come in that's, just to give some background, that's changed, that's removed and deleted files and moved content from one page to another page. But localization teams have issues following those pull requests because they're not notified. So on a GitHub discussion or an issue, I forgot which one it was, we decided, and also on this SIG Docs meeting as well, we decided to add a new label. A label on GitHub, on our local GitHub to Kubernetes/website repo. So there's a new label that's almost ready. Its label title is refactor. And this refactor label indicates any large refactoring changes. So files being removed, content moving from one site to another site. So that's almost finished. I have one more pull request to make. The label is there, but I have to make one more update so that we can use the label. So that's, I'm about to finish that up in the next half an hour after this call is done. There's also a contributor named Avinash Tripathi. Avinash is looking into how to automate notifying localization reviewers and or other SIG Docs reviewers on when there is a pull request with the refactor label as well. So we know that that if there are some big changes, that all the localization reviewers or owners are notified as well, so they can make those subsequent changes in their localizations as well. Any questions or comments?
A small question on my end, Ray. Do you need any new contributors to help out, or is there a great place that folks can get started to help out here?
Yeah, just doing some, just some testing. I have a work in progress draft pull request just to make sure it works. But after I make this one pull request, which I will post on the SIG Docs Slack channel when it is up and merged, then we can test it out. I know we were looking into adding the refactor label to a few previous pull requests that have merged already. So we can add that label and see. Also need to add the automation to notify localization reviewers and other SIG Doc reviewers as well. So I'll post in the SIG Docs channel when this label is up and ready.
Awesome. Thanks so much for the update. Any last requests for questions on that? All right, then we'll move on to the next item. And I know Chris Metz on the call, you wanted to give a brief update around diagrams in Mermaid. Love to hand over the virtual mic to you.
Okay, good, terrific. Thank you, Natalie. So a couple of things. First of all, I attended KubeCon last week. First one in I think 2 or 3 years, but it was great meeting everybody. Jim and Brad, Nate, I know we chatted a bit, Ray, so it's just a great community and I'm very grateful to be part of it. And I feel more empowered than ever as a contributor for SIG Docs. Okay, secondly, I'm going to jump on my diagram soapbox for a moment. So I think one of our jobs really is to make this documentation as interesting, accessible, and friendly, in particular to new contributors or folks who haven't really worked or even understand what Kubernetes is. So I think the notion or the use of diagrams can be a great addition to what we're trying to accomplish. I'll be honest, right? There's a dearth of diagrams within the documentation. So I think either existing contributors or new contributors think about even just a simple block diagram with some arrows and labels would go a long way towards simplifying things for new contributors or new users or folks looking at Kubernetes for the first time. Some of these concepts can be pretty difficult. So like I say, just a simple diagram would be great. Fortunately, within Docs, the K Docs, we do have a package, Mermaid. It's a simple way to craft up very simple diagrams using Markdown-like syntax within the document itself, right? You don't have to go somewhere and hack up an SVG and then bring it back in, copy it to images, link it into the docs. You can put it right then and there. Others can collaborate on these diagrams. They can make changes. There's an offline live editor where you can see how it works. You can generate a REST API for the document and fling it around to contributors. So again, it's really easy. It's all working. Some of the new diagrams are in the the new contributor or the contributor documentation, but existing or any new contributors, please just think about a little diagram. You may think it's like, this is, everybody gets this, why not? But some people may not get it. And some people may need just that way of, okay, now I get a little bit of this, let me delve into the documentation. Last item is, I saw a talk by Kim Schlesinger from DigitalOcean last week called Beyond Block Diagrams, Different Ways of Visualizing Kubernetes Architecture. And one of the interesting ones that she brought up was the idea of a sequence diagram. And so I took what she had in her presentation. By the way, I would encourage everybody to take a look at that presentation. I took what she had and used Mermaid to craft up a simple block diagram. And to me, it sort of made sense. And, I'd look to folks like even, Whitney, who's done some outstanding work on, explaining and visualizing Kubernetes and how we may be able to incorporate that into the documentation. So again, it's not a lot of effort. You don't have to be like, a PowerPoint or diagrams or sketch whiz, just, little simple diagrams, start from there. Open an issue, say, hey folks, I was looking at this, what do you think? We can all collaborate on it. But, as new contributors, even existing contributors, you have in your mind how this thing looks, sure you can convert it to text, but again, a diagram would be helpful. So I'm going to step off my diagram soapbox and hand it back to you, Natalie.
Great. Whitney, actually, it looks like you've got a question.
Yeah, well, I was going to say it feels a little bit like the stars aligning or serendipity. Actually, let me share my, let me figure out how to share this to the chat. Anyway, I'll share my bio in chat, but my day job is I used to work for IBM and make videos for the IBM cloud, and now I work for VMware, and I have a Lightboard studio in my home where I can make videos. I can only figure out how to send a direct message to, okay, here we go.
Yeah,
so
just in the chat box at the bottom. Yeah, there you go.
So there's an example of a video I made for IBM, and I'm just starting to do this for VMware. But if videos like these, or even just the drawings that come from them, would be good in this area as a way to make documentation more accessible to beginners or to people who learn differently than just by reading text, then I'm a resource for y'all. This could be really cool.
Hey, totally. Yeah, Whitney, post some of your videos up on the Slack channel. Again, I think we need to have more of a, start to, hone in on that mindset of we need to visualize what we're doing. Not in every instance, but in those cases where, it sort of makes sense.
Nate, you've got your hand up.
Yeah, I just wanted to, this discussion reminded me of a chat that I had with Chris last week, especially if we're talking about bringing videos and such in. I know that Mermaid is done in sort of in the pages, so it doesn't need its own sort of space. But I wanted to bring up the idea of potentially creating a repo, a separate repo for art assets for the site, things like Photoshop files or video files, or the things that we use to generate SVGs. That way, if these things need to get edited, I know you can edit SVG in line as well, but we potentially lose all the layering information and that sort of thing. So it might be valuable to look into opening a separate repo that can store the working files for these types of assets so that we can easily go back and edit them later.
Yeah, that's a good point, Nate. You brought that up last week. And even, for example, SVGs that come from maybe some other package, you can edit it to point, you can crack it open and put a URL in there as to where this diagram can be found. And it could point to that repo as well.
Great.
So I have an issue open about adding, and per Ray's suggestion, adding a section in the on diagrams in the style guide. So I'll work with you guys on to see where that might be appropriate.
Yeah, definitely. And I just also wanted to kind of highlight what you mentioned earlier, Chris, around a possibility for new contributors to kind of get involved in this way. Definitely opening up an issue and having a dialogue and conversation with the rest of the community about areas that you find on the site that you think could be improved with the diagram, and getting a bit of consensus so that this is something that folks will actually appreciate and be able to get a lot of value out of before jumping in on the work. That's definitely I think the path forward there in terms of opening up issues and chatting to folks and seeing what they think is valuable too. So definitely jump in there. I think that's a great resource for sure. And I do want to call out, I've got Atharva who's asked a question specifically for you, Chris, being selected for this KCNA exam and preparing for that, any docs and resources for a higher understanding of Kubernetes in general. Atharva, I do want to definitely get you to go have a look specifically at some of the pinned messages in the SIG Docs channel and some of the Kubernetes contributors channels as well. There's a lot of really great useful resources there around high level understanding of Kubernetes overall. But if anyone else has suggestions there of what Atharva could look at in terms of documentation, feel free to pop them in the chat so she can get that link and be able to study for her exam really well.
Yeah, good job going after this.
Definitely. All right. Any other comments on Mermaid and the diagram work that anyone wants to chime in with? All righty. We're going to move on to the next agenda item. Thanks so much, Chris, for bringing that to the attention. And we've got some notes there in the agenda of some really interesting suggestions, specifically also from you, Whitney, with the video. That's really great. I've just listed actually that link that you shared in the agenda docs for folks to be able to have a look at later on. All right, moving on to our next agenda item for discussion. This is from Ash, actually, who I believe is on the call. Any docs related changes we need to be aware of for the kubectl outer tree cap? Please, Ash, after you.
Hey folks, so some context for this is that the code for kubectl currently resides in the KK, which is like Kubernetes/Kubernetes repository, and a lot of SIGs, including release and CLI, are in the process of moving this code out of the KK repository. And so I was basically looking at a KEP, which for the folks who are new is a Kubernetes enhancement proposal, which is what you create when you want to make changes in the Kubernetes community. And so I was looking for similar KEPs, and there was a KEP to remove this one component called kubeadm. It did not pass through, but in the KEP, there were, if you open the GitHub link I've mentioned and go to line 511, you'll see that there are discussions about how docs would be handled once this component moves out of the Kubernetes repository. So I wanted to know from folks if there's something we need to be aware of, because we are writing the CAP right now. So if there's something we need to be aware of in terms of documentation, because I know that in terms of documentation, like one thing is definitely that Cube CTL commands page, which is auto-generated, I believe. And is there something else which we need to be aware of?
I think we're not there yet. So we're still planning the roadmap for Cube Control going out of the tree with both SIG CLI and SIG release and release engineering subprojects of SIG release. So it's definitely not targeting for 123. This is in the future. So yeah. So so I think once we get more discussion between the folks at SIG CLI and SIG release, we could help identify which there's any documentation changes for Cube Control.
All right, because we were coming up with like an initial draft of the CAP to present to everyone in the community. So I just wanted to know if any documentation related things would be relevant for this draft, but I guess not, then we can add them later. Yeah,
I mean, ideally, for now, we could, I don't know if it's correct to target any all the Cube Control docs I'm sure that there will be some, but I think ideally there would be the Cube Control section, or maybe the overview at least, will be targeted for an update.
Yep, that makes sense. Thank you.
I think there's actually a PR that Tim put in where he started work on moving some of the kubectl docs over. Let me see if I can find it. Copy. I'll put it in the chat. Is anyone familiar with this particular PR? So I know we've been talking about this for a while, moving this content over. I think Tim just started it. I don't know if this is related to any CAP or not.
I think like since this is hard-coded stuff, it won't be related to the CAP, because the CAP would mostly deal with stuff which is like auto-generated from the readmes in the kubectl code.
Okay, it's the only work I'd seen done in this area though.
So I think all the reference docs, right? For Cube Control.
Yep.
Great. Any other comments on this? I just want to openly note, I think it's so fun that we all pronounce kubectl, Cube Control, kubectl in all our different interesting ways. Any other comments on this? All right, great. Thanks, Ash, for bringing that to folks' attention. And looks like some more conversations between SIG CLI and SIG release so that we can get kind of moving on the next steps there. Awesome. We have come to the end of our listed agenda items. So I do want to kind of open it up in case anyone else has anything that they'd like to add last minute before we were to close off the meeting early. Anything, maybe interesting things from KubeCon that you learned that you'd wanted to discuss? Interestingly, how Chris brought up Mermaid, anything at all?
Yes, me. Federico Camarel, I would like to add a note about the videos. Just look for the meetings to search for this topic. I mean, about creating content, video content about the topics, because I'm pretty sure that that was talking in a meeting, at least one. And the problem is, how do you update the video content when the concept change? That's not happen all the time, but that can be from two versions or the other. So I'm pretty sure that if you search in the docs meetings index, you can find some video or some date to get that video and get that point of view. That's it.
Thanks for sharing, Federico. Actually, Whitney, given that you're the video expert on the call, I just want to check if, in terms of updating content when things, let's say, go stale or out of date, how have you generally handled that?
The videos that I make are only 5 to 10 minutes long and are easy. If something gets updated, they're pretty easy to reshoot since they're just in my house and they're all in one take, so they don't take a lot of editing. So I would just say make it again from scratch, but it would be a pretty quick thing.
Okay, that also sounds like it could be an interesting way to kind of write up a kind of a best practices how-to guide if there are other folks who get interested in doing videos. If that was something that was to kind of come up, that could be also an interesting contribution kind of doc as well.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Federico, for bringing that up. That's a really valid point. Thank you so much. Anyone else who wanted to speak to this topic or any other topics I'd like to bring up now that we're at the end of our agenda?
Just one more thing for all those who are new, if you want to contribute, just feel free and reach out on the SIG Docs Slack channel. There's several of us here that are more than happy to help out. I'm about to send a message on that, so feel free to reach out if you want any help.
Definitely great message to end on, Ray. And I think, firstly, big thanks to everyone for coming to SIG Docs after the KubeCon interesting kind of event taking place and everyone getting back on their feet again after a great virtual or in-person event. And also thanks everyone for your agenda items and for the discussion today. As Ray said, new contributors or would-be contributors, please come into SIG Docs, say hi, make yourself known, ask questions, get curious. It's really something that we're super interested in helping out folks and getting to know you all. So thank you, Whitney, also for coming. Hopefully we hasn't felt too intimidating for you. Always welcome anytime at this or many other SIG meetings as well. I think this is another shout out to anything that you're interested in the Kubernetes community. Naturally, we're a bit biased in Docs, but if there's other areas of the Kubernetes project that you think are going to be interesting to you, attending the different SIGs, they're also open to be able to go and see what's going on, what's happening, and how you can contribute there. Also a really good way to get to know other community members and to stay curious. And so on that, thanks everyone so much. Everyone's getting a bit of an early mark, and we'll see you again in another couple of weeks for the next SIG Docs meeting. Take care.
Bye.